Mr. Ensink is presided.
Thank you. You may be seated. The court is now in session. We call case number 381. Mr. De Goeij plus Mr. Snater is now in session. Mr. De Goeij, could you please stand up? How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Alright. Is the prosecution ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we will now hear the opening statements from the prosecution.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Lyceum, and I'm representing Mr. Snater in the case against Marvin. Marvin killed Snater in cold blood. And Your Honor, this is why we ask a verdict of guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Would the defense like to give their opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the court, my name is Coopman. Today I'm representing the defendant, Marvin de Goeij. He has been accused of murdering for Mr. Snater. We ask for a verdict of not guilty.
Thank you. Will the prosecution please call the first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution would like to call Mr. Benthem to the stand.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Okay, you may be seated.
Mr. Benthem, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is René from Benthem, and I am a supporter of the match.
Could you please tell us your side of the story?
Marvin's team was clearly losing the match. They started playing meaner with every second the match lasted. At a certain moment, the linesman flagged for offside. The team's captain, Marvin, did not accept this and started picking a fight with the linesman. The referee separates the two and lets the match continue. Marvin keeps making small violence, but after about 20 minutes he makes a huge offense. Marvin makes a tackle without any intention hitting the ball. The referee blows his whistle and gives him a red card. Marvin does not agree with the referee and starts cursing at him. The referee and the other players are trying to tell him get off the field. He does not listen to this, however, and gives the referee a headbutt. The referee falls to the ground and was taken to the hospital.
You also filmed this incident, haven't you?
Yes, I filmed it.
Before you get over here. Getting a red card for the dangerous tackle that you just did. Dangerous tackle? What? It could have broken his ankle. It was a normal tackle. No, it wasn't. It was well. I have no further questions, John.
Thank you, counsel. Would the defense like to cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may begin.
Mr. Van Bent, what was your first thought of the case? I don't mean that you explain the whole situation, but just your thought.
There must be a red card.
And Mr. Van Benthem, were you the only one in the public who thought that he should be suspended from the field with a red card when he made the slide?
No, most people thought that.
And Mr. Van Benthem, if you would stand in the shoes of the supporters of the opponent, would you think the same? And could you explain this, please?
Yes, the tackle was so horrible, it must be suspended.
And Mr. Van Benthem, Did you watch the tackle again?
Yes.
And what was your decision after you have watched the tackle again?
After I watched it again, I saw that he first hit the ball before he hit the player.
Thank you, Mr. Benthem. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Right. Thank you for your statement. You can go now. Would the defense like to call the first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense would like to call their first witness, my defendants, Marvin and Goeij.
Alright. Mr. de Goeij, could you please stand up and raise your right hand? Repeat after me. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Okay, thank you. You may be seated.
Mr. de Goeij, what did you thought of the decision of your referee when you first made your tackle?
Mr. Sneater yelled at me that I had to come to him. Yes, I was angry, but I came to him in calm mood. When I arrived, he started to talk me with an aggressive tone, which I believe is not allowed for a referee nor a player. That I should calm down and shut up, and then that I should be suspended with a red card, because of the danger the tackle would have made when I broke the ankle. In my opinion, it was a good tackle. That is why I became angry.
Mr. de Goeij, when you walked back, did you really have the intention to hurt Mr. Snow?
No, it was not my intention. I have never killed anybody.
At the video, we saw your head move forward to Mr. Snow, which ended in a headbutt, which resulted in a bad situation. But were you the only one who moved his head forward?
No, I wasn't the only one, because the referee moved forwards too. When I was at this point, we unfortunately moved both forward to come closer. That is why it resulted in a headbutt on both sides. I have a hurt head, so I think that the impact I did was much bigger. So he fall to the ground.
And Mr. de Goeij, did you really meant to hurt him?
No, it was not my intention.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Is the prosecution ready to cross-examine?
No, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you, counsel. Mr. de Goeij, you may take a seat.
Mr. Johnson, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Mr. Johnson, and I'm the first police agent at the case.
You've taken a breathalyzer, haven't you?
Yes, I've taken a breathalyzer. The result of this test was that he had used some alcohol, but not too much.
Did you do any more tests?
Yes, I've read his file, and I find out that he had some wrangle with a referee earlier. At that time, his sentence was a 4 games suspension.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Does the defense want to do a cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
Alright. Mr. Johnson, you may take your seat back. Does the defense have any more witnesses to call?
No, Your Honor.
Alright, thank you. Before we go any further, does the prosecution or the defense have anything to add?
Yes, Your Honor. I had a research by a coroner, and I had the report from him. Can I take this to the case?
Yes, you can.
Okay. I spoke with the coroner, and which looked at his bruises, his body, or other important information about Mr. Snow. When I looked at the report, I noticed a few things. First, I noticed that Mr. Snother never could have died from the headbutt Mr. de Goeij has admitted in the match. In the worst case, he could have given Mr. Snater a heavy concussion. The report also showed that Mr. Snater first fainted away and that he could have died later by a heart attack. But he had a weak heart. Mr. Snater was living in perfect conditions, but because he had a weak heart, the blow Mr. de Goeij has admitted, it resulted in a very bad habit. It's all checkable in a report that I'm holding right now in my hands. So what I can conclude is that Mr. de Goeij never had intention for killing or harming the referee very bad. Mr. de Goeij's habit that Mr. Snater received was that he fainted away with at least a good concussion. Mr. de Goeij admitted that he headbutted Mr. Snater, but he never could have killed him with the headbutt, so he hasn't committed murder.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. I've also been to the coroner, and the autopsy report showed me that the victim, Mrs. Snater, died to a lot of blood loss in the head. Some vessels bursted thanks to the impact of the ground from the headbutt. This was the reason why he died. So he also died thanks to the headbutt, because that was the reason why he fell down.
Does the prosecution want to give their closing statement?
Yes, in this case, Mrs. Snater was killed over a red card, something pretty much meaningless. All because Mr. de Goeij couldn't control himself in his rage. This would be very dangerous to let walk around freely without any consequences.
Right. Does the defense have a reaction on this?
No, Your Honor.
Right. Does the defense want to give its closing statement?
Of course, Your Honor. Mr. de Goeij is very sorry for what happened in the game, and he has much regret for the situation. After looking at every single thing, I came to the conclusion that he is not guilty, not for murder, nor for manslaughter. That's why we pleaded not guilty. So I ask the jury, before you make a decision, could you please concert that Mr. de Goeij never had the intention to kill, he never could have killed, and that's why he is innocent of murder.
Okay. May all rise. God's 9 reasons.
Hello, I'm George.
Tatum.
I work here around as a salesman. What kind of job do you have?
I'm a hairdresser in the village a little further on. I also live in that village, but my family still lives in the city where I grew up. Later I moved out of town.
Okay, I own a shop in the middle of this town. It's a very nice neighborhood. There is a park less than a kilometer from it. I live here with my family in the city. But something else, what do you think about this case?
I think it was a very thoughtless act and that he should get the highest possible sentence. What do you think?
Well, you should know that a lot has happened beforehand. There were a lot of rough actions on both sides, and you have also to take in account that the mental health of the man wasn't very good.
Yeah, that's correct, but other than that he was well aware that his act could seriously injure the man.
Okay, that will not work in his favor. The reason was that he made an offense at the other player, and therefore the referee gave him a red card, but not everyone agreed on that decision. He was furious at the referee. Because of that, he acted out of anger.
Because of his mental problems, he probably get a reduced punishment. I don't agree with that decision because I think he should get the highest penalty. This action should not be allowed in a modern society, especially in sports.
I agree with you. If he gets a high penalty, people will be less likely to commit violence during sports.
Yeah, it's important to set an example to all aggressive athletes so they will think before acting. But I think the case is starting.
Okay, let's go.
All rise. Our Honourable Judge Mr. Ensink is
Has the
presiding.
jury reached a verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can we hear it, please?
On behalf of manslaughter in the first degree, we find the defendant, Mr. Marvin Goeij, guilty.
Alright, so Mr. Goeij, your sentence will be 5 years in jail, which can be reduced to 3 years in jail if you behave.